Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's your first time here. I'm Tommy Daniels and thank you so much for stopping by. Okay, I film about faith, lifestyle, relationship, property, love. So if any of that interests you, please make sure to subscribe and also check out my previous videos. Speaking about previous videos, have you seen my vlogs? So this is not my first video this year. This is actually the first video I'm filming this year, but I've been showing you, I guess, a recap or the vlogs of our Maldives and Dubai trip, and it was amazing. I'm still reliving those moments, so please make sure you check it out if you have not checked out any of those videos. But onto today's video. So today's video, as you can see from title, I'm going to be talking about my journey from student visa, or being on a student visa, to British citizenship 13 years on. Kind of what the journey was like for me. And I'm doing this video because I know that there are quite a lot of people, or I know quite a lot of people that are maybe thinking about relocating to the UK, or I've relocated to the UK, and they're just wondering, how can I do it? Or you're thinking about like being permanently resident in the UK, or maybe you're already here on a student visa and you're just thinking like, what is the way out? So hopefully this video will you'll be able to learn one or two things from this video and also see that it's possible for you. But actually what prompted this video was that I realized that actually this month makes it 13 years since I've been in the UK. 13 years since 18-year-old me relocated to the UK to study. And I have been here ever since. I fell in love with this place. This is home for me now. All right, let's get into the video. Right, just a bit of backstory. It's kind of like a story time as well. I'm actually just going to be going through the timeline, and obviously, hopefully it will not be too long, but if it's long, just grab your coffee, grab a drink, and just enjoy the video. And make sure you share this video as well with, anyone that you think, would be interested, or this could help in any way, shape or form, as well as my other videos. Okay, so a bit of backstory. I filmed about this previously, this part of the story where it was never really the plan for me to come to the UK. When I finished, I'm Nigerian, in case you couldn't tell. When I finished my secondary school in Nigeria, the plan was just to go to university in Nigeria as well, but I failed. I failed my final exams. I did a video about that, so please check it out. I'll try and link it. But I failed my final exams, which meant I had to have a compulsory gap year, what you call a gap year, here. So in that time, I was going to retake the exams, and it was during that year that the talk of, I guess, me moving here came about, and it actually originated from my sisters, because two of my sisters were four. In case you don't know, I've got four sisters, so we're 5 girls in total. And two of them had moved here at that time. Sorry about the noise. Two of them had moved here at that time, and they were the ones that actually started suggesting, what, maybe you should consider the UK. And of course, I was excited. I was like, yes, please, yes. And that whole process, I'm not going to go too much detail. Anyway, that started, and then in January of 2009, I found myself here. I remember like the very first once like this, that was my very first time out of Nigeria, out anywhere, as I said, out of Nigeria. So I remember like stepping out of the plane, and the cold, as I said, it was January, so it was winter. Because I didn't have a winter jacket, I just like a flimsy, what do you call it? Like a flimsy hoodie. It was like just a small, more like something that you wear in spring. It was definitely not something for the winter. So as soon as I stepped out of the plane, it was the cold. I was like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting it. I came with one of my sisters because she'd been in Nigeria, I think over the Christmas or so. So she was coming back, and then we came together. I remember like the first meal I had that night, when I got to theirs, I was wearing gloves when I was eating. Like that's how cold it was. But as time went on, I got familiar with or I familiarized, or I got used to the cold, I guess, and I was just excited. I was so excited to be here. But then about like a month or maybe 2 months after I moved, my sister started talking about walking, and I was like, what, walking? Like, Like no one told me about walking. I literally like had no idea like that I was I was going to walk, and she was like, yeah, you need to walk. And then I think so. I came in January, like April. I started like working part time, obviously with school as well. And that, yeah, as I said, I was 18, started working. To be honest, the money I was making at the time was more of like upkeep. But then over the summer, like when I had like a proper break that summer, because that particular summer I had like maybe like 4 months or so off. Because when the first course I was doing was like a foundation, it was not like a 6 months, so not a full foundation, it was like a 6 month foundation. So in between, I think that ended in like June or something, and I was now resuming in October. So I had like a good 4 months or so off. And I worked a lot, during that time, such that I was able to like, save some money and use that for my tuition as well. And I think that's actually the first thing. I think like for a lot of Nigerians, well, people come in different, like, especially if you're coming at the, like for undergrad. I think for most people that I know, I think most people, it's usually like, parents have paid everything, nothing. I'm just, I'm chilling, enjoying my dad's money. Of course, people like my family were supporting me mostly, like most of it. But I still like, had to chip in. And then about 3 years on or so, I finished, I continued to work like all through. So like I'll just do part-time. I think you could only do 20 hours during term time, and then 40 hours like full-time during the holidays. So I'd continue to work like part-time. I was like working in cinemas. I also did a video actually about from selling popcorn to finance director, which is my current role. But yeah, check out that video. So yeah, I worked part-time, finished, graduated with a first class, yay! And then after graduation, the next question was work. Actually, before graduation, obviously, like you're thinking work. I got a job. Actually, after I graduated, I still had to do a bit of I continued like working, like I was working in cinemas, like different cinemas. So I had to continue for a bit until I got the job I got, which was in a bank. And I started there, but like 18 months in, like I always knew I wanted to do my master's. So like I kind of always had my eye on, doing my master's. So this was, by this time I was thinking of master's, this was 2013. So like 4 years. Now I got in to do my master's in 2013. So this is 4 years after I got into the UK. But before that, so it was either, so when I finished, okay, we'll backtrack. When I finished studying, like I think I was like 2012 or so, I was able to get the post-study work visa, which was a 2-year visa, and that was what I was working with. And then I worked for like 18 months. So maybe like a year in, it was kind of, I was already thinking what's going to happen, like in terms of like visa. Like I already knew at this point that I loved it here. Like going back to Nigeria wasn't something that I wanted to do. If I had to, I would have, but it definitely would not have been a choice, something that I would have opted to do voluntarily. So I, all my, especially because by that time, so initially I said, 2 of my sisters were here, like, my other sister, one more sister was here as well. So it was almost like, and with their family, children and all that, it was almost like my family was here. Obviously my parents were still back in Nigeria, and one of my sisters, was still, back in Nigeria, but here was, for me, beginning to feel a lot like home. Like I genuinely loved being here. So like a year into that job, and maybe having like a year left on my visa, the post-study work visa. So this was before they cancelled it, and now they brought it back again. I was thinking, what's gonna happen? There was like I think it was called like I can't remember what it was called. It was like a visa that you could get with having, what was it called? It was like an highly skilled, it wasn't called highly skilled visa, but it was like something to do with, I can't remember what this visa was called. I have no idea. So it was either get that visa, and I remember when I was working like in the bank, there were a couple of Nigerians there as well, who were already thinking about, I think they even moved, like I left before them because I left to study, but then I reached out to them later, and then they had gotten on this, other visa. So I was really thinking about, whether this visa, but I always knew that I wanted to do my master's as well. So I think at that time, I had a good job. Like the job I was doing at the bank was like quite a good pay. So I just decided, I was going to do my master's. So I chose London School of Economics because it was London. So I was going to be living at home being, with my sisters, even though we don't live in London, just outside of London, or in Essex. So I was going to live with them. And, for the year, like, I really kind of wanted to immerse myself, like, in the whole experience. So, like, I was like, for the year, I wasn't going to work. I'd saved up money, actually, before before getting to this, because I remember the tuition fees clearly. It was 22,176 pounds for the tuition for my course. I did like a management course, and I remember like I had like 18,000 pounds, I think, or 17,000. But before I got to this point, I just realized like I was making money, but like the money wasn't, it felt like it wasn't staying. But then I remember one day, like my brother-in-law literally sat down with me and was like, okay, bring out your bank statements. You've made this. Where's this money? Like, where has it gone? And it was kind of like a really good exercise. I would really encourage anyone, like, if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, I make money, but I just cannot see what I'm using the money for. And I guess also because I didn't have responsibilities, this was my mistake. Because I didn't have responsibilities, I wasn't like actively saving. Like, I was living at home, like just doing things. I was just doing whatever. Most of the things I was doing was me for myself. But honestly, looking back, like I know I could have done a lot more that year than save, just £18,000. And also, because my living expense, by living expense, really, it's more of just transportation and maybe buying clothes, doing your hair, stuff like that. Because I was living at home, I was eating at home, so there wasn't really much to do. But anyway, so that year, I knew that I really wanted to immerse myself in the whole university experience, because I felt like I didn't really have that with undergrad. So I didn't work at all for that year. I was able to, like, I guess, get 18,000 or 17,000, and my parents helped me out with the rest for the tuition fees, and then got in. But now this is where like it got real, because obviously by the time I started my master's, I was still on the post-study work visa. So like along the line, I changed to a student visa, and then this was, as I said, this was like 24, so like 5 years into like being here. I changed back to a student visa, and then I knew that after the student visa, they had actually stopped the post-study work visa at the time. So I knew that the only option was to get a job or continue studying. Now, I kept on applying, which was also one of the reasons why I chose like London School of Economics, because I was like, okay, I need to like go to like a top tier school that, kind of the name would open doors for me or get my foot in the door. But the competition was a lot. Like, initially like looking for like management consultancies or investment bank. That wasn't really my thing. Ideally, like I really didn't want like the investment bank with the lifestyle. But to be honest, when you know that you need like sponsorship, I'll explain what sponsorship is later. When you need these things, it's not so much about just what you like anymore. So like I'm praying, I'm applying as much as I can. At this point, I'm broke. If we're being honest, as I said, I didn't work for the year. I've used everything for tuition and living expenses for that year. So there was really nothing. It was just thankfully I was still in a very good position because I had a roof over my head and food. But I was broke, and I wasn't at that point. I was 22, 23, so it wasn't like I was a young girl that could just keep living off family. Or I kind of felt like I shouldn't be living off people at this point. Like I really should be able to stand on my own 2 feet. And I remember my sister having a conversation with me one day, and she was like, why are you like putting yourself under so much pressure? Yes, you've been working and whatever, but if you were in Nigeria, you're 22, and you're in Nigeria, you would still like be living at home. You'll still be getting like money from your parents. So we're like, why can't you ask them for money? Because as I said, like I really felt like I shouldn't be asking for money at this point, especially because I'd not been doing it for like a few years, apart from like money for like tuition and stuff, like major things. But like living expenses, I just didn't think I should be doing that again at that age. And so I'll just decide and keep on applying. And now I knew that I just couldn't. It wasn't just any job I could get or I should get. I needed a job where they could apply for, the tier 2 visa. So they needed to be tier 2 sponsors. Some of these terms, in case if you don't understand, maybe ask me in the comment section or just Google them. But if you're thinking about like, studying in the UK or living in the UK, you should probably start familiarizing yourself with these terms or with these types of visa. So it's called tier 2 visa, which it still exists, obviously. So, well, not obviously, but it still exists. So the tier 2 visa So as I'm going for interviews, like I knew like the major and the bigger companies, I knew that they had, those that kind of sponsorship, so it wasn't a problem. But then the competition getting into those jobs was a lot. Like I remember going for McKinsey, what's it called? Is it like the group? I can't remember, some level of for the some level I can't remember what rank it is in the interview scale, but like the team, and then I kept like I didn't do well, but like all those like management, like all those big, like the big four and all those companies, the competition was really, really stiff, so it was quite difficult for me to get those jobs. What I did, and I would advise you to do this if you're in this situation, I went on, the tier 2 sponsor list. You can get this online. It was like a PDF list, and I will get like all the companies that are tier 2 sponsorship. Now, even if you don't have a company, or even if the company doesn't have tier 2 sponsorship, they can get it. But I just thought it was easier if they already had the sponsorship. That means, they've already sponsored someone, or they had an idea about it. So I'll go like, sometimes I'll maybe check it randomly. Sometimes I'll go list by list, I think, and just go to those companies, check if they have vacancies that suit my skills. If they didn't have vacancies, I would still sometimes if I find an email, I would still just send my CV to them. So I was doing that, but that wasn't so fruitful. But make sure that's something that you can definitely do. Just reach out to those companies, especially if they don't have vacancies, you can still reach out and like just sell yourself and say, look, I really want to work from you. So it was like my full-time job was basically applying for a job. And then I did that, still wasn't, working well. But then there was a careers portal, or I think it was called LSC Career Hub, where they post jobs, and then so I'd apply through there as well as like your regular application website, job website. So I was applying through there, and then I saw a job that was like not so much. I felt like it was a bit like out of my scope, but I was like, I'll just go for it. I went for the interview. It was a small company, and I was like, like it's not my style. Like, I was still really thinking like, like a glamorous, big company in the city. But I knew before I had actually even gone for the interview, I knew that they had tier 2 sponsorship. But I was like, yeah, it's a bit small. And then I remember like coming back from the interview that day, and I was like, yeah, it was okay. I think they had already told me that, I could come for the next stage, or they were going to schedule me for a second stage interview. So, but when I wasn't excited at all. So I remember like telling my sister and my brother-in-law, and they were like, he didn't say anything to me, but I think he like went to tell my sister, his wife, and I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I not like dancing and excited? Like, what's my business with the size of the company or whatever? Like, the goal right now is I've decided that I want to stay in the UK. Like, this is this job is looking like it. I should be excited. So I guess when he said that, I kind of thought, okay, yeah, I really should be excited, and I got the job. But the thing with this is that I got the job like 2 months before the expiration of my visa. So it was one thing to get the job, and it was another thing to now start explaining. So when at first, like, sometimes you want to, I don't know, some people like, just go up front. This is my visa situation. Sometimes they ask, sometimes they don't ask. So, sometimes you say it up front so that both of you don't waste each other's time. Other times you think, okay, let's just go, in case, they like me and they like me so much and they'll be willing to do this, even if they don't have the sponsorship. So I think I was at that point where I was just going to go for interviews, whether they have it or not. We'll go. If you like me, then we can, talk. If you like me enough, then we can talk about like sponsorship, the tier 2 sponsorship, even if they don't have it. So this was luckily, this job had it, and it was 2 months too. What I didn't say was that before this time, when I was still, because I got the job in like November, I finished August. Although my graduation was in November, but I'd actually finished in August, and my visa was expiring in January of the next year. During that time, I'd started thinking about like PhDs. Funny this is because then I remember like going for my sisters, like a couple of years before then, 2 of my sisters were graduating from Durham University, and I remember going for the ceremony, and I saw, those that were graduating with a PhD, they had like a different art, and I thought it was really prestigious, and I was like, in my mind then I just thought, like maybe I'll do a PhD, kind of just to stand out. So then at this point, when I was not considering PhDs, I was not thinking that maybe this is what God really wants for me, like, thinking that. Then I would remember like that incident, that maybe that's why, you just start like adding everything in your heart, because like really at that point I just didn't know. And for me, like, staying back in the UK legally was not an option for me personally. So I actually made a couple of applications for PhD. I don't know. I think I submitted them. I don't know. But I was just at that point just checking like every single avenue, like, what were the options and that were available to me. And also in all of this, praying to God. But 2 months before the end of my visa, that job came through. And then I think about like so that didn't actually apply for the visa, because I still had a visa to work. As I said, outside of term time you can work full time. So I think they applied. So I started pretty much immediately, and then like about December or so, they put in the application on my behalf, or I did it myself, but they did a sponsorship, whatever. And I think I got the visa either in December or January, the tier 2 visa. And then happy days, renew. I think I got a 3-year visa first, and then they renewed it 2 years. But by the time before the end of the 2 years, I'd been 10 years in the country. So again, because I know this video is about like, from student visa to British citizenship. So I'll just get there to the British citizenship part quickly. So I couldn't get so there are like 2 routes to get a British citizenship. Not 2 routes, but 2 times. Well, let's say like it's either the 5-year route or the 10-year route. For the 10-year route is that you need to, it's called 10-year long residence. So if you've been in the UK for 10 years legally, you're entitled to British citizenship after 10 years. Or you could do a 5-year route where I think you cannot mix any other category. So you have to have been here, like either on a tier 2 visa, for instance, for 5 years, or either you're married to a British citizenship and you've been living in the UK for 5 years under just that one visa, and then you can get it in 5 years. But because but for student visa, I don't think, and post-study work, I think they don't count under those 5-year route. So I couldn't like count those years. They only could count like the 10-year route. So 10 years after I'd been, before like the tier 2 visa expired, like a year before it expired, I was eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain. And after having indefinite leave to remain for a year, so I had that for a year, and then got my British citizenship. So yeah, that's my story. I know that's pretty long, but I think part of the things that you can, just to summarize, the things that you can take home from this is, first of all, like keeping your options open. You're applying for jobs, thinking about like, I know people that have done like 2 masters and the PhD and stuff that they never really planned for them, but maybe, they're actually now enjoying it. And just keep your options open. Don't just think I have to work in this company, and if I don't work in this company, then it's not working out. Keep your options open. Then you need to really like go at it like a job. You can't just be doing, I'm doing 1 application per day. I'm doing, you really, really need to keep at it. Also, plan well in advance. I think some people don't even really think about, when their visa is expiring, because that's the thing I didn't mention, the cost. It's also very costly, like, all those visa applications and stuff. So it's a lot of cost. So it's something that you need to plan towards. So you need to kind of keep yourself abreast with all the new laws, and because things change. You can come here now thinking, I'll get post-study work, but it was cancelled at some point. Like now it's reinstated, thank God. But what if that changes as well? So you need to like make sure that you're staying on top of the news and the laws, so what's changing. Maybe there's a new law that's probably working in your favor as well. So yeah, keep your options open, keep up to date with news, laws. Make sure sorry, I lost my train of thought. I actually just lost my train of thought. But yeah, it's possible. I think that's what I want to leave you with. It's possible. It's possible, and I guess you just be ready to put in the work. You may have to do work 10 times harder than someone else that doesn't have to. You may have to, go out of your way to prove yourself to employers that, you're capable than, other people. Because sometimes, like some employers, once they just see that you're on a visa, they're not too keen to take you on. So you may need to go out of your way to prove yourself and say, look, I can do this. So be ready to like put in the work, and don't just sit there thinking everything is just going to fall on your laps. But just know that in all of this, all of the ups and downs, it is absolutely possible. So keep your options open, and I wish you all the best. If you do have any questions about anything I've said in this video, because I've also tried to rush through this video, obviously if I'm compressing 10-11 years of my life in a video, yeah, there's a lot of compressing. Yeah, there were definitely highs and lows through all of this process, but if you do have any questions, please leave a comment in the comment section. Please also share this video with your friends and family. I'm sure it would encourage them in one way, shape or form, or if it's for you as well, I hope it encourages you, and I wish you all the best on your journey to British citizenship, or your journey in the UK. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tommy Daniels. Thank you and goodbye.